Hello, I'm Dr. William Ortiz. And of all the various medical methods available to utilize medical cannabis, topicals such as Cannabis Salve is by far the most accepted method among my patient population. However, there is such a variation in the effectiveness of Cannabis Salve. The reasons, the manner that it's made, and the original medicine CBD content. So, the greater the CBD content, the stronger your medicine. To ensure high CBD content, you should have your medicine tested prior to making your salve. You must discuss with your doctor any medication, pills, therapies that you are about or considering doing. Review any allergies you might have and review the ingredients in the salve prior to using it. You don't want to have an allergic reaction, and you don't want to have any ill effects with the use of this medication. Keep in mind, cannabis is a fat-soluble medication. The cannabinoid THC will enter your bloodstream, and the higher the CBD content your medicine has, the more offset of the psychoactive effects of THC. Please keep a treatment log and share your experience with the health clinic and other patients so that we may benefit from your experience as well. At the end of this presentation, I will offer recommendations on how to apply this medication on your body. So I ask a master caregiver from Maine to please share his recipe for a salve. Welcome, Tim.
Welcome. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad you showed up. Tim has agreed to share his recipe, his poor man salve recipe with us. So with no further ado, I want us all to give our attention to Tim. Tim?
Thank you very much. The first thing you're going to need is some medical cannabis. You're going to need 1 ounce of medical cannabis pre-weighed. You're going to grind it down with any type of grinder will work. I use a food processor just because it's quicker for a larger amount. Once that's all ground, you're going to take and put it in your crock pot, add your oil to it.
How much oil do you use, Tim?
I use 48 ounces.
Is it always vegetable oil, or can you use any other oil?
You can use any type of oil you prefer. I prefer sunflower oil. You can use vegetable oil. You can use coconut oil. There's many types of oils out there.
What else you got over here to
You'll need a bottle of vitamin E oil. You can get this at any of your convenience stores pretty much. Beeswax. And I buy that by the brick, but you only need 3 ounces to make a batch. You're going to need cheesecloth, which is another inexpensive item, plus a spoon to scoop your stuff out with when it's all done. A strainer. I use one of these because it works well with a mason jar. Then you just set your strainer inside, put your cheesecloth on.
How much salve will this make?
It'll pretty much fill these 2 jars, 2 1-quart jars.
And I see you're using a crock pot. Why a crock pot? Why not?
The crock pot method is a slow cook method. You have to have a crock pot with a warming function on it. This one has high, low, and warm. The warm function you really need because it works off of not heating it up too much. If it heats it up too much, it's going to burn the product, which I don't know if it would still work the same way if it was burnt, but it's going to have a bad smell.
And how long do you cook it for with this crock pot?
48 hours on
2 days?
2 days.
So you'll put all these contents in here and wait, and it'll cook for 2 days on warm.
All I'm going to put in that crock pot before I cook it is just the cannabis and the oil.
Nothing else for now?
Nothing else till the final stage.
Wow, so let me step out of your way and let you go to work.
Okay. You can crunch that up a little bit. As you can see, it's really dry. It gives you a lot better chance of breaking it up. You don't want to use moist cannabis in this. You want your cannabis nice and dry. get you a better consistency once your final grinding is done. We also have a scale here so you can pre-weigh to make sure you have 1 ounce of
Yeah,
medical
because
cannabis.
it says here like a quart and 60, it's almost, because it's for liquid. So it's
Right,
basically the key.
exactly.
So you can't use this to measure, you have to
No,
actually
you have to
scale.
actually scale it. It's dry weight, so you actually have to scale your 1 ounce.
Okay.
And then of course the grinding process just takes a couple of minutes.
Really pulverizing.
Yeah, it grinds it right up good. That's why I use a food processor.
Yeah.
So you're basically gonna do that for about a minute. And then you're done in it. Like I said, a food processor is a lot faster than a hand grinding process. And as you can see, that's ground up really fine.
Yeah.
That's just to assure that you're gonna get everything out of it that you set out to get out of it, as far as your oils and your trichomes. Then you just add your oil.
Just like cooking in the kitchen.
Just like cooking in the kitchen. You can make this easy, and you can make a pot of beans. Pretty simple recipe. Follow the video and anybody can do this. It's just a basic.
Besides the cannabis, Tim, how much is all these ingredients and these things that you put in are going to cost? How much is it, on average? Not including the price of the cannabis.
Not including the cannabis, you're looking at probably $25 for your oils, your vitamin E oil, your beeswax, and that beeswax is going to give you enough for 5 batches. So for that money, you're going to actually have enough to do.
5 batches.
Yeah, except for this, you're going to, out of a bottle of vitamin E oil, this is a 2 ounce bottle, you're only going to get 2 batches out of that.
Right. Okay. So now you've got your
Of course,
oil.
you need 1 of these for every batch, so.
That's simple. One of these 48 ounce. So now you have your cannabis, you have your oil. Then what do you do? What's next?
Then you just plug your crock pot in, make sure it's on your warming function, and it cooks for a 2-day, 48 hours.
But not low.
48
You
hours.
say warm.
On
Warm.
It has to be a crock pot with a warming function on it.
So now we have to wait 2 days.
2 days.
Tim started a batch of Salve 2 days ago, and in order to help us move along with this process a little quicker, the batch that he started 2 days ago is about half the size of what we were starting with today. So Tim, will you go ahead and explain to us what are the next steps in this?
Now you've got your cooked down oil with your medical cannabis in it. You're gonna take this and you're gonna strain it out into a mason jar. And you're gonna need, for a full batch, you'd need 2 jars. We're gonna get this all into 1 jar, I believe.
I'll take it right your way.
Thank you. I like to use one of these. They're used for a canning process, and they're made to use with a mason jar.
Okay, so it's right on top there.
I take my strainer and use a piece of cheesecloth, and the cheesecloth I like to double it up, and all this is going to do is get more of your cannabis matter back out of your oil.
So you like using the cheesecloth because it actually helps you separate the plant matter better than a regular filter?
Yep, and it gives you a cleaner looking salve.
Okay.
I mean, I don't imagine the product is gonna hurt you, but of course you're gonna have dry material on your skin if you don't get it out of there.
Okay.
Which is why I like to use the added cheesecloth. just gonna basically just slow pour that in to this cheesecloth.
It's okay. Just pour it quick. Is it okay? Too hot? Go ahead, pour it right in there quickly.
A mess. It would be my first day out, right?
It's all good.
Now you're gonna take that spoon because you can see some of your matter just settles out to the bottom. Just take and put it so you get it all into the.
On top of cheesecloth there.
Yep. Okay, now I just take my spatula and just squeeze it out a little bit to get the rest of your oil out of it.
Getting every last drop out of it, huh?
You should try to get everything you can out of it. I mean, it's by the time you put your medical cannabis in there, you're gonna have
Look how dry that looks
a
too.
little bit of money involved in it, so you want to get all you can out of it.
You see that there? Okay, then what?
Then we're gonna have a paper towel to wipe out our excess cannabis out of that. It doesn't really need to be perfectly clean, you just gotta get the cannabis out of it.
Okay, so we gotta get us a cloth paper, some sort of towel or something to clean this up here, and then you're ready to pour it back in.
Yep.
So let me get this pot cleaned up for you, and then we'll proceed, okay?
Okay.
We're back. I've cleaned out Tim's pot, so he can continue going. Go ahead, Tim. It's all yours.
And now now that Dr. Ortiz has really cleaned up my
pot.
really nice for me, I'm going to add the beeswax that I previously had and cut in half because this is only a half batch. So we cut the block in half. We're gonna put that in the crock pot and takes probably 20 minutes approximately for that to melt down at the slow.
So you're cooking the beeswax separate right now, letting it warm up by
You
itself.
just gotta let it melt down into a liquid form, and you'll see when it's all liquid, that block is gonna disappear.
And the temperature stays on warm still.
All warm.
The whole time.
Everything is all done on warm. You
Okay.
don't ever turn it up over just warm.
So let's give this 20 minutes to melt down, and then we'll go back to making our salve. Well, our wax now is all melted. And it's ready for Tim to do his thing. Tim, it's all yours. What do we do next?
Now you just add the oil back in that we pre-strained the cannabis out of. Now we just have a basic oil extraction, and we're just going to pour this back into the beeswax. And like I said before, the beeswax is just to add consistency to the oil to give it the texture to actually stay on your skin.
So if you want with more texture, more beeswax.
More
If you want less texture, less beeswax.
Yeah, and that's all a preference. If you want it thicker, you add more beeswax. If you want it thinner, you're gonna put less beeswax. Of course, you know, everybody likes different. Not everybody's the same. Now,
Look
see,
at it.
what-
It's kind of like
it's already
fogging up.
starting to cool down.
Let me show them. It's like fogging up and getting hard.
already
Can you see
starting to
that?
cool, yeah.
One. So I look kind of foggy, like we said earlier. Now you're ready to stir it up.
Yep, I'm gonna add my vitamin E oil that we talked about earlier. It's just a preservative, and it also adds some skin care to the
medicine.
product.
Mhm.
So you're just gonna, then I'll go back and check the bottle to see how much of it I'm gonna add. Just a little bit more. That should do.
Now remember, this is different from Tim's original because we had to cut down the portion, so we actually used less vitamin D. Sorry. So you stir it, let it sit for a while, and then...
Yeah, well, you're just gonna have to let that heat back up a little bit.
Can I stir it for you? It's okay.
Yep, once that melts back into pure liquid again, we'll stir it, it'll get them lumps all out of it.
Yeah, that temperature really makes a difference. You
Yeah,
can
it
see where some of the wax is actually getting lumpy or whatever, but we'll stir it up, and then once it's all stirred up, it'll be ready to be put in some containers when the temperature's right. So, I'll stir it up. We'll let that sit, and then we'll get to pouring it once it's cooled down. Well, we've let this cool down a little bit, and I think, Tim, you're ready to do your thing. Go ahead.
We're ready to pour. We're just gonna pour it through this funnel into these little cups to store it in.
Yeah, you can find these cups like in any store in those areas, right?
Yeah. Or if you prefer, you can just pour it off into a mason jar or any type of container that you prefer, you can pour this off into.
And as these cool down, it'll get harder.
Yes, this will harden right up to salve consistency when we're all done.
Okay, let's pour one more.
That will cool off pretty fast once you get it out of this crock pot. Anyone that's just using this for themselves, probably a good idea to pour it off into a bigger container and then just take out and fill your smaller container as you use it.
Now, where do you store it? Where do you store the stuff?
I keep it in the refrigerator, and I usually just keep mine in the crisper drawer in the bottom of the refrigerator. It's where I keep all of my medical.
And you take it out to apply it on yourself, and then...
Yep.
Wow, it's already starting to harden up.
A little container like this I'll keep out and I'll use it until I'm done using it. And then I'll go to the refrigerator and get out.
I know this is a crazy question, but I have to ask you. What's the shelf life of this? How long will this thing last on in the refrigerator?
Approximately 6 months. They tell you that the shelf life for any of these products is going to be approximately 6 months. So when you fill it up, you just take a regular Sharpie and mark on your cover or the cover of your mason jar, whatever you may be doing.
So you should date it.
Just put the date that you put it in the container. You can go back and reference that date
So
at a later time.
Alrighty, but it's a good idea probably to make with no more than 6 months at a time.
Right, exactly.
Well, I want to thank you. You really took the
Another thing we probably should stress is always make it in a crock pot with a warming function. Do not try to make this on a stove because you're using oil, which is very flammable.
Good thing to stress. I'm glad you did that. I want to thank you again. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
If you found this video helpful and you wish to learn more about the safe and proper use of medical cannabis, then please look to our educational series for more detail. Thank you.